Hi guys, it's Rue, and today's video is a review of YSL's brand new foundation, Fusion Ink. So the lovely people at YSL were lovely enough to give me a chance to try this foundation before it goes on sale on the 20th of next month, and I'm really looking forward to show it to you guys. This is a great sounding foundation and I can't wait to try it. YSL do many beautiful foundations. The most notorious would be the Touche Éclat foundation, which is a beautiful foundation, gives you a beautiful glow, but it tends to make me oily. Even though I have it and I've owned it and I now have samples that I use, I tend to get oily throughout the day, but I still use it because it's so good, and I kind of just put up with the oil or I blot all the time, but it is such a nice foundation. So when I found out they were bringing out a long-lasting 24-hour foundation, I was really excited because the shade range matches Touche Éclat, so you're going to be able to get a similar shade range match. I was just given it in this little YSL box, and you can see there it says Fusion. I'll hide the rest of the information, but yeah, on here you can see what the bottle's going to look like, but I will attach a picture in here somewhere of what the foundation will actually look like. So I received it in this little bottle, and I thought what would be fun is to show you an example of another YSL foundation. This is the Touche Éclat one, and you can see the shades together. This looks lighter, but in fact I think it's very similar. They're both BR20, so I'm looking forward to having a good match. So with no further ado, let's jump straight on and I'll show you how I applied the foundation. Okay guys, so I'm going to be using the Real Techniques Beauty Blender to put this foundation on, purely because it's just one of those blenders that you could put any foundation on and it'll go on great, so I don't have to worry about a bad applicator or anything. I know this is going to sit right and it leaves the foundation to perform as it should. It doesn't have to clunk up on the skin with a bad brush or anything, so yeah, that's why I'm using this. So I'm just going to take a little bit on my hand from the tube bottle and just apply it like that, and then dab the sponge into it and stuff. So I'm not going to use any concealer or anything to apply under this, because I want the foundation just to do its thing. I don't want any variables to come into it, and a concealer can change, you know, the consistency of a foundation, so I just want us to see what it's like for itself without any help, you know, on the coverage level and stuff. This is a really kind of liquidy foundation, like really watery, and I've accidentally put too much on because it all came flying out of the bottle there. So I'm just trying to deal with this huge blob I put on my face. Blend that in as much as I can. Hopefully this is coming through okay on camera. Make sure I get it in everywhere on the eyes and stuff. We'll see how this looks. I'm just going to quickly buff some into my nose because that helps hide pores and things. This can sometimes make dry foundations cake up, but I'll know it's because I used this brush. I just can't deal with the pore situation. Okay, so there we have it. The foundation has been applied. Let me just see in the mirror what I think. And I really like it. Like, you can definitely tell it's matte, and you can definitely tell the difference between this and the Touche Éclat foundation, which is good. You know, this is a 24-hour, so it has to be super matte. Yeah, it still has a glow to it, like my skin has a glow still. It's not like really flat coloured, and it has done quite well at covering up my redness and things. I'll try and put a before and after picture of the coverage in about here. But yeah, I am really liking this foundation. I do really like the coverage of it. I like that it maintains a shine. It's definitely matte. It's one of the mattest foundations I've ever used, and I've tried a lot of matte foundations because I have such oily skin. So I'm really hoping this holds up, because so far it's looking really good. I would use concealer, but sparingly, because this does have really high coverage. The sales assistant did say it's medium coverage, but I would, you know, I think this is pretty good if you were in a rush, but I would use a little bit of concealer. So with that applied to my face, guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll see you after that. Okay, so the rest of my makeup has been applied, I'm all finished, I'm all done, and so far I'm really liking this foundation. I really like the way it looks. I like that it still has a glow, it's matte still, and I haven't used any more powders. I haven't used any mattifying powders. I've only used powder to contour. I haven't used any more concealer. This is just a product on its own, and frankly I'd be quite happy to leave like this. I wouldn't need any under eye concealer, any other concealer. I am quite happy with the way this looks. If I wanted higher coverage, yes, I would use a concealer, but so far I am really liking the way this looks, and because it is so thin, it does look really good on the skin, and I don't think you would need to overload with loads of powders just because it does look so natural. So the foundation went on really well with my beauty blender, but I do feel like if you used a brush this might not go on so well. I mean, it could. A lot of people have great, you know, possibilities with brushes and synthetic and all that. I just tend to find brushes can clog up on my skin, so I would suggest that people use a beauty blender for this, just to lock in that moisture in your skin so it doesn't look too heavy. You can definitely tell this is a lot matter than the Touche Éclat foundation. I have owned the Touche Éclat, I no longer have it, but I have got samples of it that I wear regularly. It's such a lovely foundation, and this is just like it. It's the same colour match, but it's matter, you know, and that's really something that's great for me because I do love that foundation, but it just gets too oily. So a 24-hour foundation does sound like it would be really great. One thing I did notice while applying the foundation is that it separates really bad. There's obviously a liquid and a powder kind of formulation mixed together here, and it did seem it kind of separated quite harshly. You do seem to tend to get that with like serum foundations and matte foundations, that the alcohol content and the powder of the foundation separate. So I suggest you just give it a little shake when you have it and it should be fine. It applied beautifully still on me and it was not a problem at all. The shade matcher's right, everything lines up, so I'm really excited to let this last throughout the day. I will check in 1 hour exactly, and we'll just get the time now. So the time now is 5:15. I'm going to hit this timer now, and I will see you in an hour, guys. Okay guys, so I'm checking in after an hour. You can see it's just coming up for an hour now. And so far I'm still happy with how it looks. It's maybe went a tad shiny than I would have expected, but it's not broke down or anything, and it's still not at a level where I need to blot yet. Of course, remember, I have used this without any blotting powder. I haven't used blotting paper, I haven't used any matte powders at all. I would normally have, you know, a matte primer, and I would have, you know, a matte powder on top of this. Just because I like to be super matte and I do tend to get super oily, so this is, it's still not got oily or anything, which is pretty much what I'd expect from a foundation, even if it wasn't a matte foundation, but we'll check what it's like in another 3 hours. So I will see you at 9 o'clock tonight, and yes, we'll check in and hopefully it's still in place then. So guys, it's now 9 o'clock, it's actually later, it's nearly 10 o'clock now, so I've left it a whole hour longer. You can see the proof, I've had it on 4 hours, 44 minutes, and however many seconds. So at this point the foundation is quite oily. There's a lot of oil sitting on the skin now. My nose is quite shiny and my cheeks and all over it is quite shiny. At this point I would definitely blot with the powder. I've never left a foundation in such a long time to get this oily. I would normally have powdered beforehand and multiple times since. So the fact that I have oil on it now, I don't think really reflects on the foundation too much. But before I give my final overview, I'm going to go ahead and blot. Sometimes powdering the skin can change how a foundation looks, so it's better I just powder now and then tell you how that goes after. So I've went ahead and I've blotted, and it hasn't changed the foundation at all, which I'm glad to see. A lot of foundations, once they gather oil, can tend to, you know, cling to the powder on the surface, and it kind of makes it look crappy, and this actually looks really nice still, even with powder. So yeah, I'm liking it. As I said earlier, this is a 24-hour foundation, and I think what that means is the foundation will stay in its place 24 hours. It might not necessarily stay oil-free 24 hours, but it'll certainly stay in its place 24 hours. And I definitely think it would do that job. I really do like how it looks, and I still like how it looks, you know, and it went on a dream. It was nice and light, and it's nothing too heavy or cakey or anything. And I think once set with powder and properly, you know, used a primer and things just to hold everything, I think it would last a really long time. So yeah, I'm really loving this foundation. There are other foundations that are like super long lasting, like Hourglass's matte foundation, and other ones like that do last long, but this seems to have held up well with those ones, and in the end it makes your skin look better towards the end. Like, the foundation looks more in place. You might be more or less oily than some others, but you do certainly have that good kind of put in place foundation look. The colour also hasn't oxidized either, which is a really important fact, which means that you're not going to get a super oily kind of orangey skin. It stayed well, the colour, so I'm loving that. and I just wish my lipstick had stayed in place better. So all in all guys, I would give this foundation an 8 out of 10, and I would say that it's a really great long lasting foundation, but I would recommend super oily skin users like myself to use some kind of powder and primer before they wear their makeup, and that goes for any foundation. I would love to say there's a drugstore dupe for this or something, but because it's so new in the market and I have dabbled in many drugstore foundations, I do find that they make you oily a lot faster than any of the higher end ones. So as it stands, this is still a really long lasting formula, which I would say was close to or on par with Hourglass's Immaculate Foundation. So that's the review guys. I hope you enjoyed this exclusive look at YSL's new Fusion Ink foundation. I've loved showing it to you, I've loved having the chance to show it to you, and I really do love this foundation. I can't wait to get the full one and start incorporating into my, normal routine and playing with it and getting to powder it and things like that and seeing how long it really does last. But this has just been, a test on skin without any other products to see how the product itself lasts and how long it does. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave your comments, tell me what do you think of the foundation and what foundations do you love for oily skin. Have you got any recommendations for oily skin? I'd love to know, because oily skin foundations are quite hard to come by. So let me know down in the comments guys, and I will catch y'all later. See ya, bye.